What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Want to keep you guys in the loop and let you know about a potential fight that may be coming up. According to Bob Arum, they're trying to make a fight with Yuriorkis Gamboa and Timothy Desert Storm Bradley. Now, this news is coming way out of left field. I don't think anyone really could have predicted that, but that's the fight I hear they are trying to make. Um, Instead of Money Mayweather, I think Bob Arum should put money in his name, change his name to Bob Money Arum, because I think that's really what propels this guy. He's like the Jewish Don King, and I think if it's dollar signs for him, then he's all for it. Like if he feels it'll be lucrative, so we may see a Marquez versus Pacquiao 10, let him do it. And it's just funny because he has the nerve to critique or criticize other fights being made, like Tavares Cloud and Bernard Hopkins. He was complaining that the network bought that fight, but again, that's a fight we've never seen. So it's funny that it's coming from the same promoter who's trying to make a Marquez versus Pacquiao 5. So, um, as far as this fight, Gamboa versus Timothy Bradley, will I watch it? Hell yeah, I'll watch it because it's an intriguing matchup. It's a matchup that I never even really expected. When I think of Gamboa and potential fights, I've done a lot of fantasy matchups like, ooh, Broner versus Gamboa would be great. Mikey Garcia versus Gamboa, that would be a good fight. Um, and I thought about Gary Russell Jr. versus Gamboa. I've thought of a whole bunch of like ways to mix and match those divisions, and I never once landed on Timothy Bradley. So like again, it's out of left field. I never even pictured them two fighting or potentially being in a fight together. So I never gave it much thought. But now, since the news of this fight, they're trying to make the contracts and um, put this together. I'm forced to think about it, and I think it's intriguing just based on the fact that there's a lot of details that need to be filled in. They got to do a lot of filling in of the blanks because Gamboa fights at a 130 or 135, and Timothy Bradley fights at 147 or 140. Um, he got the title from Pacquiao at 147, and to my knowledge, he wanted to continue campaigning at 147. I don't know how he does. It looks like he's always in tremendous shape when Timothy Bradley goes to the weigh-ins and whatnot. I don't know how he makes 140, if he makes 140 or if he has problems making it. Um, but to my knowledge, he wanted to campaign at 147. And as far as this matchup, I don't know. Would it be a catch weight? Is Gamboa really going to go up for 130 to 147 to meet Timothy Bradley, or are they going to do a catch weight? I don't know. Again, it's a weird matchup. If if a fighter is signed to 50 Cent's SMS promotions, I would honestly might question their direction in terms of this fight. 50 Cent has been promoting Gamboa, and Gamboa's fresh off a 15-month layoff, and he wasn't that impressive in his last performance. It was decent, but it looked like he had ring rust or something. He didn't look that stellar. Um, so just that, and then the next fight directly after that fight, you're talking about moving him up in weight to 147 to fight an undefeated fighter like Timothy Bradley, who's slick. I don't know. Just as far as a promoter's concerned, that seems like a weird matchup. It seems I don't know why 50 Cent as a promoter would have that much confidence that we can go and take this guy out. I don't really understand this statement. I don't think it rationally makes sense. As a fan, hell yeah, I want to see it because Gamboa has an exciting style when they're both undefeated. But as a career path wise, I don't see why a promoter would put that upon their fighter at this stage of the game. Coming off a 15th month layoff, a mediocre performance from Gamboa, and then the next fight you make with him is against Timothy Bradley. But for a fan's sake, I mean, it's an interesting fight. Again, you have some different, just different styles, and it'd be meeting in the ring. We all know Gamboa is explosive. He has the kind of cocky, no defense or hands low type defense, um, and just like a real unorthodox kind of Cuban style. And Timothy Bradley is known as a light puncher, but he is pretty balanced in terms of his offense and defense. He's an aggressive fighter. He comes to fight, and He's very masterful with his defense. If you watch the Pacquiao versus Timothy Bradley fight again, you'll see how many times his footwork and his slick style made Pacquiao miss. And Pacquiao's another fast fighter, so I'd be anxious to see how this fight turns out based on those styles. We know Gamboa has power at 130 or 135, but how will that power transition moving up to 147 or 140 or 144 or wherever they decide to meet? I don't know how much power he'll have in conjunction with a move up in weight, especially his first fight at that weight. If you watch Robert Guerrero versus Ayudin, Robert Guerrero did not look that great as a welterweight. In that fight, he looked kind of fatigued. But then if you look at him in the Berto fight, it looked a lot better, and it looked like he made the weight better, and he looked just overall healthier and a better performance from Robert Guerrero. So, I mean, to move up from 130, 135 to 147, that's a lot. That's pretty steep. It's a tall order, and especially against someone with the style like Timothy Bradley. Again, not a huge puncher, but someone who has the ability to use the ring, and they have defense and aggressive style. And clearly, Timothy Bradley, a lot of people sleep on this fact, but it looks like he has a chin. I mean, he's been in there with some bangers before. He's been in there with just different people, and like most notably, most recently, Pacquiao, who hits from angles and has known to pack a punch, and he never got knocked out or anything like that. So looks like he has a chin. Gamboa's chin, kind of questionable. He puts himself in positions where he's susceptible to get knocked off balance, whether he's hurt or buzzed or not buzzed. Either way, it's still scoring a knockdown. And against someone who's crafty like Bradley, that definitely could come into play, knockdowns. So I'd be anxious to see how this fight plays out. Will Gamboa's power transition to a higher weight class, like 140 to 147? Would he just get severely outboxed by someone as crafty as Timothy Bradley, or would he just not respect Timothy Bradley's power? I don't know. There's a lot of variables which make this fight intriguing. Based on Gamboa's last performance, again, I wasn't that impressed. And if I were to make an early prediction, I don't even know if this fight will take place, but I would definitely say Timothy Bradley. He's also an undefeated fighter, but I just think he's crafty, and his level of defense and ring intelligence is far better than a fighter like Gamboa. So, I mean, if he could take Pacquiao's punch at 147, and I don't know what Gamboa would necessarily do drastically different to get him out of there. So I don't know, a lot of questions, but I think it could be an entertaining fight. It could make for an entertaining fight, but there's a lot of unknowns. So I would definitely go with Timothy Bradley for early prediction, just based on his ability to make people miss and just ring generalship, and he's pretty slick. So that'd be my early prediction. As far as Gamboa, I think realistically, I would watch this fight, like I said, with no problems. But realistically, career-wise, it seems like he would fight a fighter like Mikey Garcia well before anything like Timothy Bradley. And to that point, I don't really see, again, not judging from, I'm a boxing fan, so who doesn't like action? If it's an action or a competitive fight, that's one thing. But as far as Timothy Bradley, let's say he beats Gamboa, what does that really do for him? What does that do for his career? I don't really think it does much for his career. I mean, yes, Gamboa has a name, but it's too easy for him to beat Gamboa and then have people say, "Oh, he beat him because Gamboa had to come up in weight." So it's really easy for fans or pro Gamboa people to just discredit the win. Like, oh, the only reason he beat him is because Gamboa had never fought at that weight before professionally. So I don't really think it does much for Timothy Bradley. Could it be an entertaining, exciting fight? Yes. But career-wise, legacy-wise, I don't think it really makes any statements for Timothy Bradley, who's campaigning at 147. I think a fight with Timothy Bradley and someone like Marcos Maidana, who's under the tutelage of Robert Garcia now, I think that makes more of a statement. Or if Timothy Bradley fights the winner of Devin Alexander versus Kell Brook, whoever wins that, if they look good in that fight and have an impressive win in the Devin Alexander-Kell Brook fight, if he fights the winner to that, that makes more sense. Or Robert Guerrero or somebody like that. I think all of these fights make more of a statement for Timothy Bradley and not just another name on the belt, someone with a popular name in the sport. As far as Gamboa, if he loses the fight, it really does nothing for his career. I mean, it's just a loss. If he were able to win the fight, I mean, the sky's the limit, I guess, because he went up in weight and dethroned somebody who was undefeated and beat Pacquiao. So that would definitely help his star power grow. But I think it's more one-sided. I think the fight would help Gamboa well before it helped Timothy Bradley's name. But that's just my opinion on the thing. Gamboa is a popular fighter, so others might see it different, like, oh yeah, this does wonders for his career. I just don't think it does much in terms of the actual boxing experts, just because of the weight difference in which Gamboa would have to come up in order to fight Bradley. So that's my take on it. I would watch the fight. I would definitely watch it without a problem. I would pick Bradley to win. And other than that, we'll see. Let's see what happens. Let's see if it takes place. Let me know who you want to see Gamboa or Bradley fight. As always, subscribe, comment, and or hate on the video. And until next videos, Ego signing off.